Today, I will be discussing how international neglect caused the Rwandan Genocide. Now, what was the Rwandan Genocide? The Rwandan Genocide consisted of the mass murder of 1 million ethnic Tutsi and moderate Hutus that only lasted around 100 days, but the genocide tallied up numbers faster than the Holocaust. The Tutsi and Hutus' animosity towards each other was caused by a social, economic, and class divide that separates both groups, but were identified by their facial characteristics. Rwanda is a country located in the eastern central region of Africa along the southern hemisphere. The genocide could have been prevented several times but was ignored by other nations. Background: what led to the genocide? Following World War II, Belgium had occupied the Rwandan territory for almost 30 years before their independence was caused by a referendum by the Hutu majority in 1962. The Hutus remained the dominant power and spread propaganda, directed discrimination throughout Rwanda to facilitate hatred for the Tutsi people, claiming they were a foreign race, an idea first incited by Belgian rule. The foundation of racism cemented by Belgium for decades directly caused the divide between both groups and the genocide itself. The suppression of the Hutu population created decades of tension that finally boiled over in 1994. The cause of international ignorance. Many nations leaders such as France, Belgium, and the United States were aware of the tragedy occurring in Rwanda, but decided against intervening due to no political interest. Rwanda and Africa as a whole was not viewed by the world stage as a country of importance. Lack of media coverage due to conflicting interest and fear about traveling to a country in active genocide. The United Nations felt fatigue after the Cold War and failed to deliver aid. World powers often use and help smaller countries to spread their influence, which was the case for Rwanda. Major contributors and their faults. Belgium. 10 Belgian peacekeepers were killed one day after the genocide, leading to a strong outcry from the Belgian people to bring them home. Belgium also struggled to gain support for their role as African peacekeeping specialists, among other nations during the genocide. In fear of driving away voters and losing more Belgians, they decided only to rescue their own soldiers during the first 3 days and then pull out completely. France arguably had the most influence over the genocide as they aided the genocide firsthand. The French soldiers in Rwanda began handing out firearms to the Rwandan army, which included Hutu soldiers, and trained them. French leaders told their soldiers not to interfere with the killings and proposed reducing the peacekeeping force that was being headlined by the United Nations. United States. As being the global superpower uncontested, the United States had more than enough financial stability and manpower to intervene. American Rangers had been killed in Somalia, leading to a self-focused approach of putting America's needs and interests first before the United Nations. President Clinton was concerned about bringing home Americans in body bags and would only launch a mission given certain requirements were met, which Rwanda supposedly did not meet. It was stated by political leaders after that there was no pressure by the American people to prevent the genocide, even though the news coverage was widely inaccurate and its validity was not recognized. How racism impacted the Rwandan genocide. Before Rwanda's independence, the ethnic Tutsi population would be granted access to advanced education and superior careers, therefore limiting what knowledge and opportunities the Hutu would have. Belgium's identification process used faulty scientific observations to identify a Tutsi from a Hutu, such as measuring height and nose structure. ID cards were used for banking, services, and transportation, which would be limited to which group was not in power. How do we learn from this? World leaders reiterated dozens of times following the Holocaust that they would never let such a genocide occur again, yet they did. Being silent will not solve anything, and it is important to acknowledge when action needs to be taken. With advancements in technology, it allows tragedies like this to become well known to the general public, and preventing racist ideals from cementing into a country's society is a priority. And here are my sources. Thank you for listening.